What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to go over a video of everything that Diablo 4 players are angry and upset about. What are they essentially complaining about with the most recent beta? And I wanted to concise everything into one video over here so I can also give Blizzard some feedback as a Diablo partner. So starting right off, these are going to be all of the top things that I've seen from other YouTube content creators, as well as checking out Reddit and other Diablo forums here for some of these screenshots. So starting right off, I think the most important thing and the most vocal thing that people are talking about is essentially these dungeons. So to sum up what people are talking about is basically the layouts of the dungeons, and I'll go over more in depth on the dungeons. What it comes down to though that people are complaining about is these dungeons, they don't feel very exciting. A lot of them feel like recycled content, as in you are going in, killing a bunch of monsters, you're gonna have to activate a winch, collect a key, collect something to go put into something else, and then it opens up and there's a boss you fight, versus in Diablo 3, you could just kill a bunch of monsters and then you'd have a boss in a rift or greater rift. Same sort of concept. A lot of people were expecting to see something brand new with this system, and I think that I can actually offer some of the solutions as well as kind of explain why certain things are the way that they are designed. So starting right off, as far as the dungeons go, there are going to be more modifiers towards the end game. They've kind of showed off some of these new things called sigils that are going to make these a little bit more interesting. So if you're thinking that this is going to be basically what we're doing at a higher level towards the end game, that's not essentially the case. There is going to be more content. I will agree with a lot of content creators right now in terms of the map layout. We'll go more in depth on the specific map layouts in terms of the randomly procedurally generated dungeons and why they kind of feel samey in a second here. But as far as like the dungeons not having anything special other than of course collecting the codex, the aspects so you can get the legendary power, a lot of people just feel like they're doing it for that, then they're not going towards them again. And remember, there's going to be lots of forms of in-game content that you can decide which you want to do. You don't have to stick with one specific thing, and that's kind of the nicer thing with Diablo 4 versus Diablo 3. You kind of just did rifts and greater rifts, right? There's no real point of doing Ubers other than of course if it's part of a season journey or if you need to progress, right? But there's going to be more forms of content in terms of endgame as far as the dungeons go. We'll touch upon the subject in a moment here, but this is actually one thing that I've been really trying to get the community to get around and get behind is the nodes in the Paragon system. So these are going to be like the top things that I think PoE players, Last Epoch players, even Wolsten, Torchlight, Infinite players, this is something that people want. We want complexity in an action RPG. The greatest thing I saw from another content creator was talking about, like, you know, some games are simple, like Gauntlet Legends. The thing with an action RPG, the reason why people want to play these games is because they want to have the complexity, right? And the point of an action RPG to have all these pieces of gear is to have complexity, have theory crafting, have really cool ideas. Now, I do want to offer some sort of a solution in this department because what they're saying is basically in the Paragon tree. Now, as far as it goes, Paragon isn't in the beta, but it's something that a lot of people are talking about because they feel like the game doesn't have really insane itemization, or in terms of the skill tree, there's not anything crazy. The Paragon board, at the start of seeing it, you think that it's absolutely crazy. It's basically a board that you can rotate, you have all these nodes, there are sockets that you can put in, but most of the stuff in the game that we've seen so far is basically you get increased damage, increased strength, you get increased like stat to just basically all it comes down to is more numbers. Versus the best example I can give is that you have no mana and then you now spend your health as mana. It'd be called blood magic if you played Path of Exile. That kind of stuff incorporates more theory crafting, more ideas than just plus extra damage on the tree. And I think that that would be something that I really want to see in Diablo 4, but I think that it's intentionally designed to be more casual friendly, because at the end of the day, this is kind of the same system that we have in Diablo 3, whereas, okay, you've gotten your max level, now you go into Paragons, you're just getting more numbers. You're not essentially getting more complexity in terms of game design and making your character feel way different than another character. There is technically the specializations with the classes in Diablo 4, however, with this, it's kind of subject to change if we get any crazy sockets in the game, and we haven't seen anything so far at the moment that's more than just when you have X amount of, you know, conditions on an enemy, whether it's vulnerable, maybe that it's under like a stun or a crowd control effect, you get more damage. That's all it really gives us in terms of the Paragon board at this time. So hopefully that will change as well in the future. Next up, this is a very simple one. Add a gem tab. I've seen so many people talk about this. I hope this one can get added. I'm going to go ahead and reach out and try to get them to add the gem tab, because if you play Diablo 3, you have so many gem tabs. Literally, you have 2 copies of the gems that drop in the game, the Imperial gems and the other gems, and it just clogs up your inventory. Why don't we have a tab? We have a tab for the codex, you know, the aspects, legendaries. Why can't we just have a gem tab? It's just so it doesn't clog up the inventory. That should be a really simple thing to change. I'm not going to talk too much in terms of the beta. There's a lot of people memeing, you know, how I got stuck in queue for 1 hour or whatever. Okay, there's a lot of memes. We're here to stress these servers, and Blizzard's like, yep, the servers are stressed. Nice job, guys. And some people are complaining about this. A lot of people are complaining about like not being able to log in. I get it. It's annoying. People are like, dude, I took a day off work and the servers aren't working. I get it, man. It sucks, but that's not something that will probably be in the game forever. This is something that will eventually be addressed. You know, hopefully they'll get all this situated on launch, especially after, you know, the beta. We're going to get one more set of a beta next week, and we'll be playing it as well. But yeah, the servers are getting stressed. I get it. That's something a lot of people are complaining about. In terms of itemization, okay, so as a Path of Exile player and a content creator, and I also played lots of Diablo as well, green arrow go up strategies, as in the itemization, especially earlier on, and I've mentioned it in my video guide for like the beginner's guide. Basically, don't even read any of the stats on the item as you're progressing in the beta up until you get items that have at least a certain amount of item power, because if the item doesn't have enough item power, there's really no point of equipping the item. Basically, you want DPS and you want armor, because armor got a massive buff that actually protects you from not only physical, but also other forms of damage in the game. Basically, it comes down to, in terms of itemization, green arrow, equip, go up. You're not really reading things. And the point of an action RPG that has loot, that has special abilities, is to actually read. Now, these all get scaled later down the line in terms of the game. Obviously, yes, we're only in the beta, so we can only go up to 25. But this is a massive thing that hopefully can be addressed for the future. But I think it's probably not even designed to be this way. They want it so in the very beginning, you pick it up, you just have fun, you explore, you get some items, you equip it, and you feel like you are progressing. It's basically a more linear way of being able to progress versus, I just got this legendary power that gives 400% increased damage like in Diablo 3, and then you feel actually powerful. Versus the system right now is, okay, you're progressing, the enemies are getting stronger, you're getting stronger at the same time, so it's more of a linear progression. So in terms of itemization, this probably won't change, but it would be nice to have like more meaningful stats, right? That's what I would want for myself as well. But next up over here, the whole Lilith statue. I've seen a couple of people talk about this as in like, it feels like it's a busy chore, it's a work. For me personally, I don't really mind this because it incorporates the idea of exploration. But let's be honest, everyone's just going to go onto some website, or heck, you can watch maybe one of my YouTube video guides on how to get all of the Lilith statues, which we will eventually maybe upload when the game does launch, because these could move around. I don't really want to make one, but there's going to be lots of websites that have like guides on how to get everything. And as a content creator myself, like the way I would do this is have maybe a special mount, a special piece of armor, a cosmetic that you can lock by getting all these, because it is kind of tedious work, especially if, remember, we're going to have seasons, and if you have to re-unlock all of these Lilith statues to basically do a scavenger hunt, yeah, for the first time, maybe people will be okay with it, but I think in terms of season, doing this every season, it is definitely going to be feeling a little bit more tedious. Next up over here, the whole left click, only being able to move via left click. I mean, it's supposed to be move only, but people want the ability to open up doors. That's like the most important thing. Like if you have your button to move, you want to be able to like move and open doors, right? Open up your chest and that kind of stuff. So that's basically what it comes down to. This is probably a relatively easy fix, and I will definitely try to condense all the things that I think realistically can be changed with like a real easy feature. Like for example, the gem tab, I can offer that as a suggestion to them, and hopefully they will incorporate that. But some of the other things like itemization in terms of green arrow go up, that I think is a game design decision. Another thing that I've seen a lot, this is the whole like left click to move only, but I've seen this consistently talking about the ultimate button. Basically, a lot of people, if you guys haven't noticed, some of the top builds that people are running in the beta, people don't want to run the ultimate. The cooldown's way too long. We don't have a massive amount of cooldown reduction in the game. Some people are like, well, once you get cooldown reduction, it'll be okay. The way that this game is designed in terms of the people that have been working on the game, they said they want this game to feel more grounded. They don't want people to basically have like your Wrath of Berserker 100% uptime. This isn't Diablo 3. So a lot of people are just dropping the ultimate completely because it just takes too long to recharge. So I love this suggestion, and I will offer it to the team, and I will mention it to them. I think this is a fantastic suggestion. It's just to have a dedicated, you always have at least an ultimate, because a lot of people won't even run the ultimate, and they're like the coolest looking skills. If you were to, you know, showcase the game off and the ultimate, no one runs it, it just feels weird as a game design decision to add something so powerful, an ultimate, and it is powerful, but it just takes so long that it's just realistically not worth it in the game. So the options are make the ultimates even more powerful so you're forced to run it, or just give it to all of us. I think giving us all an ultimate, like a dedicated, you always get an ultimate button, because there's basically 3 ultimates that you get to choose from. Just let us have one of them. I think that that would be a great choice. Next up over here, the door is locked, find a key. This goes, it's the same thing that people were talking about in terms of dungeons, right? Every dungeons, go push 2 of these buttons, and then you get to go fight the boss, or collect 3 of these little orbs, get the bloodstone, then you put them over here, and then it opens up. There was also another suggestion I saw that was basically being able to pick up more of the map objectives before going into the next zone, because how it works is you get an objective, you have to turn it in, and then you have to go all the way around. We're going to get into that in a second as far as the maps go, which is a big deal. So as far as this goes, I think the way it's designed, I don't know if there's like an easy work around this other than like them not having any, like, you know, the door is locked, find a key, because then you just go straight to fighting the boss anyways. You complete the dungeon, and then you'd be doing it really, really fast, right? So I don't know if there's like a direct suggestion for this. So this is going back to the same thing I was talking about, the 5th ult slot. This was a very popular topic. I've seen it several different times, and it kind of explains why it sucks not having an ulti only, because with sorcerers, it's like, well, I really want to run all of these skills. But I think it is an excellent suggestion. It's just like echoing the same thing that we've already mentioned. Okay, now this is going over the map layout. So someone's already dissected how the map system works. Basically, you spawn at the bottom, and you're going to go up in every single scenario for the most part. There could be some outliers, but this is the way the map is designed, and it's very like windy. It feels like a lot of the cave layouts in D3, which I think are terrible in terms of like if you're trying to push GRs, yeah, you don't really like those layouts because they're not wide and open, like, you know, let's say like the fields or any like eternal battlefields where there's a lot more open areas. These feel very closed, but it's a dungeon, so that kind of makes sense in terms of like it's supposed to be like a closed area, but maybe having a little bit more variety would be nicer versus just these same layouts. And again, it's just kind of echoing what the largest like hate like the Diablo's getting right now is in the dungeon department. So if they add a lot more variance, some of the bosses could be a little bit different versus getting some of the same bosses, but maybe this will be changed. So to explain how the random layouts kind of work, there's basically connector pieces that go in between these long stretches of areas. And again, remember, you always spawn the bottom, and you're usually going to be going towards the top. So this is something that you'll see consistently in the game, and people just kind of want more of a change at the end of the day. But like, it's kind of illustrating the point earlier made. This one is a very big one that I think should be changed, and it could be easily changed. So this is adding a overlay map to the game. So what is an overlay map? So if you played Diablo 2, I mean, we had it in Diablo 2. Heck, we even had this in Diablo 1, where we can hit tab, and we don't have to open up the map and basically not be able to see our character and stuff. Because remember, in D4, the game does not pause at all. So I think this is a great suggestion. I don't even know why it wasn't here in the first place. Perhaps because it's beta and they're still working around the terrain, because I did participate in the earlier beta that was for partners, and what happened was there were certain areas in the map that were kind of inaccessible. There was like terrain issues, so perhaps this will be coming out later. So at least I want to say there's some light at the end of the tunnel for this one. This is an excellent suggestion. I absolutely agree with you on this one. This one, I can actually already offer a solution. So people were talking about the color of like the legendary drops being like too bright and orange. So we've seen legendaries in Diablo 4, but I believe in the beta, there's no uniques. So there are legendaries, and there's also uniques in the game. They need to differentiate the color, so this one should stay bright orange. The other one, there is like more of a golden color for the other items. So we need these other colors to differentiate. Maybe if you want to, you can change the saturation if you feel like it's too bright. That's just an adjustment that you can do. But I think that legendaries, the beam of light is very iconic. Some people just don't like it because it makes it look too cartoony. At the end of the day, I think that it is there and it is great. However, maybe they can make an option to change it. But I really don't think this one's that big of a deal. But I've seen it on some forums, so I'm just here to deliver what, like, the most popular and like what are the complaints, what are people mad about. So this one over here, the thing that they're complaining about is the hairstyles. Honestly, the more hairstyles, the better. That's the way I see it. Maybe they're going to add more into the cosmetic shop that don't affect gameplay. And I would say if there's more hairstyles to get added and I have to spend a couple bucks on some really cool hairstyle, heck, it's like whatever for me. I don't really see that as a huge downside, but if they're going to add them for free, that'd be cool too. But like the character creator is amazing, but you know what's crazy is Diablo Immortal's character creator at this current time, okay, legitimately, hands down, we can't argue, Diablo Immortal has better character customization than D4. But again, we're in beta here, this could change. But look at what some people have made. This person straight up made Wonder Woman. Like, that's super impressive in a character creator. And that's also, this one was amazing. I thought this was a screenshot of God of War. And this guy's like, I made this in the game. This was one of the like biggest up, but this is actually like positive things. I just want to show you guys things that are bad. So I think that with the customization, people are doing things. I feel like the hairstyles, the fact that you could do this, it blows my mind. So like, I like this, and you know, I want to add some light at the end of the tunnel, so I have some positive things here. So actually, some are kind of like in between. Okay, so this one over here, this person is happy that players aren't designing D4. They're basically saying, yo, you guys are complaining way too much, and I totally get it. But the thing is if we don't complain right now, maybe some of these things won't be met in the future for those people that are complaining. Some of these, they're just UI options, like, again, the whole gem tab. I think that unarguably the gem tab, just that's like a really easy thing to fix. People have been asking it for forever in D3, and you know, I think that overall, like, look at my inventory right now. I just got so many just gems sitting here, and remember, there's going to be so many different types, and they're just going to clog up our inventory unless we go back to town and then put them away. I just add the tab, it'll make it so much easier. It's kind of like how we've been asking for auto pickup with Death's Breath, and then we finally got it. But basically, they're saying that a lot of people are just complaining to complain. Overall, I did see some complaints about the UI. I thought the UI was totally fine. I was able to understand it. I'm not sure why people are complaining about UI. Some games will let you scale it, but I think that as far as that goes, I mean, I can understand everything in terms of the UI. I don't know why people don't like the UI, but that's just my take on it. I'm curious to know, what exactly do you guys not like about the UI? I've just seen people complain about it. They're like, it looks janky. I mean, do you want all the items to be 3D? Because that's just extra processing power that I feel like is unnecessary. But that's my thoughts on the UI. And then over here, we have people saying that beta is already better than D3's entire campaign. But those are the complaints that I've seen, and I just wanted to end it off with a little bit of positivity. And if you're wondering my thoughts, I will be making a full review, and heck, I've kind of already made lots of reviews on D4 because we had access to it like last year. And I think the game is in a pretty good spot overall, I would say, in terms of the reception from the community. Most people are very impressed with the game. They're just waiting to see kind of the complexity in the end game, and you know, what other activities can we do when the game actually launches. But I'll be doing like a full review and breakdown of all of the things that maybe have changed very, very soon. So if you guys would like to see that, and also I'm curious to know, what don't you guys like about D4? Are you mad or angry like any of these other people's in these threads, and what exactly are you upset about? For me, number one, hands down, has to be this, which is more about endgame than anything, which is these Paragon nodes. I want my complexity. I want some insane big brain ideas for builds, but that's my personal take on it. You guys can let me know yours down below. But thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you guys are new here and do want to see more content, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and drop a like in your whale, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.